colleagues. I am Senator Akwa representing Akwa Ibom South Senatorial District, and by the special grace of God, the first female elected deputy governor in Akwa Ibom State.
Congratulations. But we also want to celebrate the first female elected governor of a state in Nigeria very soon. So that we'll have two of you. Yes.
That's why we needed the law to enhance that. Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. I rise to move a motion on an urgent need for the Central Bank of Nigeria to liaise with the commercial banks to resume operation in Oron local government area of Akwa Ibom State. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the Senate are aware that Naira redesign and cashless policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria led to cash crunch nationwide and witnessed bank customers rushing to banks for money wherein the monies were not available. Also aware that across the Federation, there were incidents where bank customers, out of anger, sacked bank staff. In some cases, attacked bank staff because of non-availability of money for the staff to dispense. Observe that one of the places that the scenario occurred was in Oron local government in Akwa Ibom State, where bank customers converged at various bank premises for several days without money to pay them, and agitated customers protested and caused commotion in the banking halls. Observed from the statement released by the Nigerian police in Akwa Ibom State that the agitation was initially peaceful until it was hijacked by hoodlums and criminals who attacked banks in Oron and destroyed properties, of which 15 persons had since been arrested for their crimes. Further observe that since after the incident, which occurred on 17 February 2023, all banking operations have been suspended in the entire Oron local government to date, despite the strategic roles that those banks play in commercial activities and the economy of Oron Nation, comprising of 5 major local government areas, namely Mbo, Okobo, Urunguko, Refon-Ruko, and Oron local government areas. Aware that normalcy has returned in many parts of Nigeria, particularly in Oron, and that the chaos at the banks is subsided, especially since after the order by the Central Bank of Nigeria for banks to pay the old 500 and 1,000 Naira notes. Concerned about the heavy hardship orchestrated by this continuous shutdown of banks in Oron, despite assurances by the Nigerian police that they have taken punitive measures and absolute control to avert similar occurrences, accordingly resolves to implore the Central Bank of Nigeria to liaise with the commercial banks that operate branches in Oron, namely the First Bank of Nigeria, the UBA, and Access Bank, to resume full operations in Oron local government area. I so submit, and thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, my name is Binos Daude Yaro. I represent Adamawa South. I rise to second and support the motion as well presented by Her Excellency, distinguished Senator Akon. In doing so, I would like to say that we do know that our banks are set up to make profit, but banks are also set up to provide social services, especially in financial intermediation. But for banks to be shutting down their branches, especially in this situation where we are talking about cashless society, it does not do us well. We cannot, on the one hand, be saying we want a cashless society, and on another hand, be seeing our banks closing down their branches. In my own local government, my Ebola local government in Adamawa State, on the, at the onset of Boko Haram back in 2012, 2 banks in my local government were shut down because of Boko Haram attacks, and they have remained closed up to today. What I would advise is that our banking committee should investigate cases of all banks that were closed down in the rural areas over the last 10 years or so, with a view to directing CBN to compel the money deposit banks to reopen these banks, because we need the banking institutions in the local areas. So with this, I support wholeheartedly this motion, and I urge all my colleagues to support it. Thank you.
Implore the Central Bank of Nigeria to liaise with commercial banks that operate branches in Oron, namely First Bank, UBA, and Access Bank, to resume full operations in Oron local government area. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. Ayes have it.
Institutions to investigate the closure of bank branches nationwide from 2010 to date, with a view to directing the CBN to instruct deposit money banks to reopen their branches and closed down since 2010. I so submit.
Those in favor of the additional prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.